Evening, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Mr. Cat Doll. Hope you're keeping well. Welcome to the Pih Quiz where Karen turns the tables on us for a change. So I'll be saying very little. Well, I hope I'll be answering the questions actually. But Karen is in charge tonight. She's the boss lady tonight. So over to you, Karen.
Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you so much for letting me do this. I've been on the receiving end of questions for, well, a couple of months now, really. So I get my own back and I am prepared. So it's just a bit of fun, really. If you've been following us, we've been doing a series on Forgotten Pendle. And also, Shelley and Joe and myself have been looking at the individuals, the people behind the story and what their stories, what their lives were and what happened to them. So it's really a fun way of just recapping the whole story of the Pendle Witches, what happened, who was involved, and how much have my teammates absorbed through the last couple of months. So let's start. So I'm going to start with an open question and I'll go from the directions on the screen. So that means that you're first, Scott. So the events leading to the Pendle Witch Trials kicked off on the 18th of March, 1612, when Alison Device met John Law. What happened next?
She asked him for some pins and basically told her, "You've got no money, you're no good to me." And he told her to go away. Very shortly after it, he collapsed with what is now known as a stroke. But obviously back then, they thought he'd been lamed, thought he'd been cursed.
Brilliant, well done. Fantastic start. Because you answered it. Some extra points. So for extra points, and actually we'll do it for whoever shouts up first gets the point. Okay. So what was John Law's profession?
A peddler.
He was a
traveling salesman.
He was. What was the contemporary name for a stroke? What did they call it back then?
Laming.
No. It came up on one of the lives. Can you remember? No. Or I should have a clock, shouldn't I, to tick it down? Okay. Half-dead disease.
I don't even remember.
I didn't know. Ooh.
Right. Oh.
Karen, that was a sicker and we've just started.
I'm really worried now. I'm really,
it's one
really
of those
worried.
facts that just really grabbed my imagination and it won't leave my brain, so it comes up whenever I can.
So that half-dead disease.
Now, when John was lamed, his son actually went to the magistrate to complain about what happened and to bring forward the accusations of witchcraft. What was John's son's name?
Abraham.
Well done, Joe.
Right,
yes. Right. So next is Sarah. What were the names of Alison's brother and sister?
Go, Sarah. You know this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's in my head, but I just can't think.
Yeah. Okay. Who's going to shout the first?
James and Janet.
Well done, Shelley.
That was an easy one.
It was. Well, I said there weren't. And for extra points, what was Alison's mother's name?
Oh,
Elizabeth.
Yeah. What was the grandmother's name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth what?
Demdike. Southern, but she was also known as Demdike.
Oh,
okay, 1 each. And how old was she?
In her 80s.
85.
Around 85, 86.
85.
And what does Demdike mean? What's the literal meaning?
Oh, I just read this other day. Oh. Old hag?
Nope. Not Good guess, though.
Something to do with the dikes, about the moles in the milk, no?
Nope.
Old
Demon woman. Dem is short for demon and dyke is for woman.
Ah.
There we go.
She wasn't liked very much, was she? She didn't have a chance, did she, when she was known that way?
No.
Okay. Shelley, this one's for you. Who was Demdike's arch rival?
That would be Chattox.
It would. And what's her real name?
Oh, for God's sake. Right, wait a minute. And Redfern. Hold on. No.
You close.
You're almost there. You're halfway there.
Aye, why can't I remember the first name? It was Redfern, wasn't it? No,
No.
it was Anne.
Okay,
Can I not remember
what's
that?
her real name?
Anne Whittle.
Yes.
Aye, Anne Whittle.
Redfern was a daughter.
That was the next question.
Oh.
So I'll give you one each for that, because you both go there. Now, where did they live?
West End Farm.
And who were they? Who they were tenants on that farm? Who was their master? Who was their lord and master?
Nutters.
No. Trick
No,
question.
it wasn't. It wasn't.
No,
It was the first. It was the first murdered victim of witchcraft.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't John Nutter, was it?
Was it
No.
Mitten?
What?
No.
Was-
No.
Was it Ron Knowles?
No.
No, he didn't
Oh,
know
I'm
the last.
happy with this one. No, it's Richard Shuttleworth.
Oh,
never-
Lord Shuttleworth. Yes, yes, of Gralthorpe
And
Hall,
Nutter
of
was
course.
his steward. So that's how they were connected. Right.
There's one
Oh
good
my God.
thing about this, Karen. I don't think I'm going to forget these again.
No, I think I need to go and read another book.
I should be giving myself points for when I've got you, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you should. You should.
Right.
Oh,
Now,
the
Joe, you
cheese.
have no problem with these. Who was the main witch hunter of Pendle?
Who's that question for, Karen?
Roger Knowles.
For Joe. And
All
where
right.
did he live?
He lived in.
Rethal.
Oh man.
Rethal.
Yes. Yes.
It was, yes. Well done. Now, how many of his fellow magistrates can you name? And there are 4 points up for grabs here.
I'm out. I cannot remember. them.
Bannister.
Yep.
Altham.
No. Magistrates.
Oh, we went to visit one. They used to hold weekly civil hearings together. Oh, my head's full of heme. I don't know. My head's full of heme.
To be fair, Joe, I'm quite enjoying the fact that you're struggling with these.
I know,
You know, so I would be terrible.
Really hard. It's going to be really hard.
It's just
Okay,
hard to
well,
remember.
there was Robert Holden, who prosecuted the Salisbury witches. Thomas Heber, who prosecuted Janet Preston at York.
Yeah.
And Sir Thomas Gerard of Bryn, who worked with Roger Knoll, and he prosecuted Isabel Roby from Wigan.
Oh.
So there were more as well, but I thought they were a bit obscure, including the one that you were thinking of, and I can't think who that was, Joe.
No, but you know who I mean, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, there is someone, but it's gone. Right.
Can I just say something? Can I just say something? Hi to everybody in the chat, and I do apologise. We only did study this for like weeks on end. You know, the fact that we can't remember half the stuff.
We did. We were cramming for each event, reading the books, testing each other.
And my defense, I hosted, so I didn't actually study. You know, so I wasn't part of it.
Scott, you should have been
I was
listening and learning.
I was doing listening, but I was doing the comments, etc. You know, doing one.
Yeah. Well, there is a good mix of questions. There are some easier, and I have stuck some tricky ones in as well. Just in case.
Is. I agree. I agree with Anders there. It's the pressure. It is the pressure, and I feel really terrible because Pendle's like my little egg, and I've kind of like overboiled my egg because I've been concentrating on aim.
Right. And I've stuck some hard ones in to make sure that they weren't too easy for you, Jen.
Yeah. I've dropped my baby. I feel terrible.
Bit of advice: don't go into mastermind. This is just it would just end in tears, I think.
Oh, right. Now,
Okay, here we go.
back to the questions. Deep breath. Okay, Scott.
Yes.
Where were Demdike, Elizabeth Davis, and James Davis examined?
Lancaster Castle.
No, before then. Before then. We've not got to the castle yet. We did discuss this as a place of interest to visit.
No.
Okay, who wants to shout
I
out?
want to answer it, but I
Yeah.
think it might be part of our forgotten Pendle. Because it's not the location people think it happened in. It didn't happen in Roger Knowles' house. It
No.
happened
Yeah.
somewhere else. And I
Yes.
don't want to say the name of it.
Oh, well, that's the answer to the question.
Oh, it's like
No.
truth or dare. Can I have a dare instead?
Oh, wow. No, I need to be careful with that. No, I didn't realise any answers were off limits.
Oh, well, it might not be. It's a location in Fence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll give
Is that
you
enough? That's half
We'll
a
go
point.
there. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Right, now for extra points, and there are 6, 7. There are at least 9 up for grabs. There were strict rules on torture, on the use of torture in 1612. So torture was only allowed within the castles. So at places like Fence and Reed Hall, which Roger Knowles' house, they weren't allowed to use torture. But of course, that was the 17th century definition of torture. And a lot of the things that they did, we would today regard as torture. So that there are no details of what Noel and his colleagues actually did. But what is most likely that they did? There's a number of things that we can be pretty certain went on.
Sleep deprivation, starvation,
Would they stab them
Bribery.
to check if they bleed?
Yeah. Yeah.
pricking.
Yeah. See if there was any spots.
Some screws.
That would have been at the castle. That would have been classed as torture.
Right. So
Drive them with water as well.
Right, quite possibly, yes.
Got them drunk.
Yeah. Especially the younger ones to loosen the tongues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
manipulation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bribery. Bribe them with things, clothes, food, a bath.
Yes.
Abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes. Yes, certainly that would come under. So a lot of the things I would have done would have been classed as abuse.
Which they wouldn't get away with in the jail.
No, they were completely at the mercy. Anything else?
I'm trying to think.
What have we got so far, Karen?
We've got sleep deprivation, pricking, drunk, bribery. I've put extortion in there as well. I think somebody mentioned starvation, abuse.
Threatening them.
Yeah, I've got that as well.
Threatening the family.
Yes.
Oh,
somebody said manipulation. I've got lies down, but that would come. Somebody said manipulation, so that would work.
Yeah.
I think that was you, Shelley, because they would have said, "Oh yes, you've done this. We'll forget about this as long as you tell us all about that," not realizing that there'd still be as much trouble, if not worse. Right, there's a couple more.
Threaten members of their families.
Yeah, we've got threats. You mentioned sleep deprivation. What would happen while they were being deprived of sleep? Because it was a bit more than just sleep deprivation.
Interrogation.
Yeah. But as they
Well,
would have,
I think Scott said earlier on they would chuck water over them to keep them awake.
yeah. They would also, they'd have been tied to the chair while they've been keeping them awake, so they wouldn't have been able to move. So once they stood up, they wouldn't have even be able to stand.
And
and
also stripped naked as well.
Yes, strip search
The
and search
humiliation.
for witches' marks. So something
Yeah.
like a mole anywhere would have been enough. And also, while they were being kept awake, they would have been watched constantly to make sure to see if any familiars came.
Aye.
So if a bird flew down the chimney, or a rat ran across the floor, or even a toad came from somewhere, that would have been taken as a familiar. So yeah, and that was none of that was classed as torture. And they, as Shelley alluded to, they had worse waiting for them when they got to the castle.
Oh dear.
Right, okay, so
It was mere mind games.
Mm.
where am I up to? Who is it now? It's Scott. Is it Scott or have I missed you out, Shelley? No, it's Scott. Where did the famous witches' Sabbat take place?
Malcolm Hall.
Malkin Tower. Yes.
Malcolm Tower. Malcolm
Yeah.
Hall. Malcolm Tower.
Yep. And when?
Good Friday.
Yes, which was the 10th of
Good Friday.
April in 1612. So yes, Good Friday. And who lived there, Scott?
Sorry?
Who lived there? Whose home was it?
It was the home of the Southerns and devices.
Yes, absolutely. Right, now to everybody, for extra points, it's not known exactly where Malkin Tower was, but there are 5 contenders that we found on one of our lives. So where are they, and which do you think is the most likely?
Well, this is getting Sadler's Farm. I know that's one.
Yeah.
Was there not the place down covered next to the reservoir or something?
Yeah.
Combe.
No.
Is that where the reservoir is?
Where was Lower Vale Head Farm? Was that one of them near that area? No.
Near where, sorry, Shelley?
Lower Vale Head Farm. Am I getting mixed up?
I'm not sure.
Tyndale Farm. That way.
Right, so I think that's another one. Is that?
There's also the
in?
Tyndale.
Yeah.
New Church, but there's also Black Owl. Black Owl.
Yes. And there's one more that's a possibility.
Is it the Run? No, because that still stands. They had an archaeological dig there. It wasn't found by Yorkshire Water, this one, but they did a dig there and found that the stone wall had changed halfway up.
Right.
It's that one.
I honestly don't know, but I think that's another one. I think I remember seeing that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they did kind of a big documentary on. They said that the stone had changed. The wall was thicker. It was a kind of a gable for a house.
Yeah. So we've got 6 places. I think the other one was in Barley, Malkin's Ing.
But that still stands, though, doesn't it?
Still stands.
That still stands.
Yeah. So which do you think is most likely?
None of them.
Right.
None of them.
Right, Shelley?
I wouldn't say any of them either, to be honest.
Right. Okay. I won't probe any further there because I have a feeling another live might cover that in the future.
Yes.
That's tantalising. That's, yeah.
Let's just say, Karen, we've been looking at the location of Malcolm Tower for a wee while. We've been looking into it.
Especially me with the old maps.
Especially Sarah. So, there possibly is another live in the process or something in the future concerning Malcolm Tower.
Right. Oh,
It's
interesting.
got to be found one day.
Right.
Hi, Harry.
Okay.
Archie, Misty, sorry, Angelina, Andy, sorry for missing anybody. Jamie, Sam, just catching up.
Harry.
I think
Hello, everyone.
if I missed anybody, sorry, carry on, Cam. You're the boss.
Okay. I should also say, if you have any questions for the team on the Pendle Witches, then pop them in the comments, and if we have time at the end, we'll add them to the list.
Great idea, Karen. I love that idea.
I'll try and answer as well.
Shelley said she's happy to answer all of them.
I'm happy to answer them. I don't know if I'm going to get them correct, but I'll answer them. I'll make up my own.
That was the part of the agreement, was it? Carry on.
It's Sarah. What supposedly happened at Malkin Tower on Good Friday? What was going on there?
Did somebody not steal a sheep?
They did. Yes. Yes. Any more?
Okay. I'm trying to think. It would obviously have been a gathering of some sort. Maybe they were making a potion of some description. I don't know.
I'll give you a point there. Yes. Okay. So I'll open it up to everybody else. What else is going on?
It was alleged at the Good Friday meeting that the people that were there were plotting the gun. Oh, what do you call it? The gunpowder plot for Lancaster Castle, or Clitheroe Castle. Is that what it was?
Yep, to blow up Lancaster Castle. Okay.
And that was the reason for the.
And also to try and free the ones that were in the jail still.
Yep.
And it was also seen. It was seen as a kind of slap in the face to the church, because everybody was meant to be in church that day, and this was regarded as a slap in the face of the crown.
Yeah,
basically.
Because that's right.
Anything else?
Also, it had been pre-arranged before Alison's arrest, as it was a gathering to name her familiar.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Also, Janet Preston from York had come to seek some help to try and get them on side to help have her acquitted second trial.
She hadn't been rearrested yet. She'd literally.
But did she know it was coming? Did she know that there was something coming?
No, not yet.
Ah, okay.
But you're halfway there, because she wanted help to plot revenge on the man who had taken her to trial for that first one. So she wanted her help to kill Thomas Lister and his uncle Leonard. Yeah. There's one more as well. I think it's kind of within everything that's been said. Well, while they were blowing up Lancaster Castle, they also wanted to kill the jailer.
Yeah,
it was Thomas Cavell.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Shelley.
Well done, guys.
It's actually quite tight. Oh, the scores doing well.
Right.
How many people were there?
How many people were there?
Yeah.
Right. Wait a minute, I couldn't.
And I'm going to ask who they were as well at some point. So get as many as you can now.
Is this Shelley's question?
It is. How cruel is this? Right, so can I just say them rather than count them?
Yeah.
Right, so obviously Janet Preston was there. Yep. Elizabeth Southers was there.
No, she wasn't. She was in Lancaster Castle.
Oh, she was in the jail.
Right.
Oh, for God's sake. Right, so
Alice.
I'll
have to open it up.
Was Alice not there?
Yeah.
I'm just going to write out all these names that I remember. And if I get them all right, I'm doing well.
Get them in quick. Get them in quick.
Right. Was Alice not in there for a wee second?
Who?
Because Janet Device in there?
She was.
That's right. Because she obviously blamed and James Device, was he there? He was there too, wasn't he? And then this is where it gets a wee bit more confusing. Was Chattox there?
No.
No, she was in a jail, wasn't she? Right, so now we've got all these other ones that I haven't got a clue about. So I think there was another 4 or 5.
A lot more. Okay, I'll have to open it up now.
Open
Go on,
up.
I can see you itching to shout out names, Joe.
Okay, so we had going from what would have been the oldest. So we had Alison and the grandmother were incarcerated, so they weren't there.
Yeah.
Everybody else was. So Squinting Lizzie, she was there. James Device was there. Jeanette Device was there.
Yeah.
Then we had John and Jane Bulcock. We had Catherine Hewitt. We had Janet Preston. Shelley's already named her.
Yeah.
Isabel Roby.
No.
No, she was no, but she was no, it's fine. No, she wasn't there. I'm going through trying to do alphabetically in my brain. John and Jane Bulcock, Alice Nutter.
Yeah. Scott, any names from you?
Oh, hang on,
None,
let me think.
None from me, I'm afraid. I need to put my hands up to that one. No, 0 points to this one. For this one.
I did forget the Bulcocks and Catherine Hewitt. I did forget them.
Yeah. Right.
Come on, Karen, who are we missing?
Okay. There was the wife of Hugh Hargreaves, who doesn't even get a name.
Of course.
There was also an Elizabeth Hargreaves, who was a different Hargreaves. Christopher Howgate and his wife Elizabeth.
Who escaped, didn't they, just before
Yes, they got away. And Alice of Colne. And then there are another 8 people who also ran away. So in total, and I'm quoting now from the trial transcript, is a grand convocation of 17 witches and 3 wizards. So 20 people there altogether.
I remember reading that. This is annoying.
So quite a few did actually scalp her and get away with it.
Oh,
yeah.
Mammy, there's just no helping me at all today.
Right then, Joe. As we mentioned, Janet Preston was one of those present. Who was she accused of killing in her second trial for murder by witchcraft? And what was the proof?
Was she the aide to what's his name? Big Lord lives in a big house.
Mm-hmm.
And the proof was she touched his body and he bled.
Yes.
Through the white sheeting.
Yes. So it's Thomas Lister
Thomas
Senior.
Lister.
That's it. That's it.
I knew that.
I was going to say Dave Lister, but that's because he's my friend.
Yeah. And so the son, Thomas Lister, was the one who prosecuted her for her first trial.
Yeah.
But yes, the sum total of the proof was that he accused her on a deathbed, but the real nail in the coffin, almost literally, was his corpse bled when she touched it.
Mm-hmm.
So, who, for extra points, and this is a hard one, who was she accused of killing in her first trial for murder by witchcraft?
Was it a child?
Yes.
But she was acquitted.
Yes. A child of one Dodgson's.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Is that the baby?
No, that was Salisbury.
Don't know how old, just a child.
Right, I'm getting mixed up.
And we've talked about the 2 trials. She was at Malkin Tower to talk about what happened in her first trial, how she was acquitted and to get revenge. But how far apart were her 2 trials?
Not that long.
No.
I want to say because
was there no date?
Yeah.
I would say. So when she got acquitted, then she was arrested again. Was there no a day or 2 at the most?
In between being arrested, but how far apart were her trials?
I want to say 9 months. I want to say 9 months.
I'm going to say 6.
6 months.
No, 3 months.
Of course, because there's 4 assizes.
Yes. I thought that would be an easy one.
Yeah.
A little bit of a trick one. Okay. Right, Joe. Chattox was accused of killing 6 people by witchcraft. How many can you name?
Do you know what? I don't actually know. This is so bad. This is so bad. I don't know. Go on, Shelley. Go on. Over to you. Go on. Save me.
Was she not accused of killing? Was it? All right, I'm not right sure if this is her daughter. Actually, John Device was one of them.
Yes, she was. Yes.
Of course. Of course,
husband,
the payments of
yes.
oatmeal and the year he
Yeah.
never paid. On his deathbed,
Aye.
he confessed to his daughter Alison that they were witches and he was making these payments to keep them safe. Of course, how did I forget that?
And was John Nutter not
One
another
thing
one?
when you know the story and it's in your
Aye.
head. It's another thing when
Yeah, it's
somebody's
so
asking you a
hard.
question and you've got to pick
This
the
is the
bits
first
out.
quiz I've done. Yeah, if we were just talking about it, it'd be
Yeah.
fine.
Yes.
Was John Nutter another one? Robert Nutter. Robert
not-
Nutter. John Nutter.
Robert Nutter is another
Yes.
one. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did he have two sons?
He did have two sons. Or
Did
the
he
other
get
way
rid-
around. I think.
Fire! Go
Yeah.
on,
Was
girl.
Was
There
she
is
accused
another
of
Nutter. Which one? What's his first name?
Oh, God's sake. Don't know. Because I keep counting what I say Robert or John.
Yeah, it's Christopher.
Christopher.
There's
Oh,
Christopher and Nutter and Robert Nutter were father and son. And there was also Hugh Moore, which
Was
came
that a
about
pub?
because she was accused of
cow?
bewitching his ale.
Aye, the pub owner.
Robert
The pub-
Nutter's cows, yes. John Moore, who was the baby son of another John Moore, and another Nutter, Anne Nutter, who was the daughter of Alistair Nutter. Right.
Real.
And
Something's
for
sticking there.
an extra point,
Go on, Shelley. I'm well impressed.
which one of these was her daughter, Anne Redfern, found guilty of killing and why?
Oh,
Come on, Shelley, you know this one.
I do know this one. I'm
You-
so annoyed.
You two like the Chattocks, though. You two are Chattocks fans. I'm the other side of the fence.
Yeah. What did you say, Scott?
Oh,
Tell Shelley, you go, girl. She's on fire.
Yeah.
no, I'm
You've
no.
already said it. You've already said his name. Is one of those six.
John Nutter?
Not John.
Robert Nutter.
Yes. And why?
And was it because he attacked
It's the daughter.
the doctor? Aye.
Yeah.
He literally tried to do it advanced when it kind of the way we thought of it, he was trying to rape her, and
Yeah.
the mother
Yeah.
caught him, and that was that, and he ran away,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
he died.
Well done.
eventually.
Well done.
Shelley, you've won. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go back to like my washing, I think.
I don't think so, Joe. Not finished yet.
Hey, Kirsty.
Who's next? It's Joe. Who were the Samlesbury witches and who did they kill?
Okay, so there was the Brayleys.
Yeah.
There
What
were
were their
two.
names?
Oh, you witch! You witch!
That's a compliment in this context.
Ellen and Janet.
They were absolutely well done. And who was the third one?
And the third one was Grace Sowerbutts was the little girl that got caught up in all of it.
Yeah.
Ba-ba-ba-bum. Who was it, Shelley? Look at that face. I can tell you no.
Yes.
I just wanted to say Mary, but I know that. I don't think that's right.
No. Okay. Jane Southworth.
Of course.
Yes,
Of
oh, that
course.
name, aye.
Of course it was. God.
And who did they kill?
They were accused of killing the little boy.
But who did they kill? Carry on. 'Cause that's the bit of a quick trick question.
It is, yes. Yes. Well, they were accused of pricking the blood from the baby, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then doing gruesome things with the little bod. So it was the son of. I want to say Henry, but I don't think that's right.
Was that
Oh,
a human?
Yeah, the son of Thomas Walshman.
Was that a dog?
Was who
Yes.
they were accused of killing, but this was the trick question. Who did they kill? As you actually said, Joe, no one. They were acquitted. Yes, thank
Sandy,
you,
I just
Sandy.
seen that comment, and I
They've filled
just
the
said,
job for a
don't
new
even
mastermind
try.
host, haven't they?
yeah, she is. She's really good. Really good. And Scott said, "Don't worry. The questions, she's assured us they're going to be easy." And I'm thinking, I've read her books. This is going to be really
I
hard.
did tell you I over research. I do a lot more research than even goes in the books.
I'm starting to regret not with this idea.
I wish you
Right, so for extra points, open to everybody. Well, actually, the first one, Joe's already answered. Who was their accuser? And as you quite rightly said, that was Grace Sowerberts. So you get the point for that. But what was her relationship to the Beerleys?
Grace's relationship.
I couldn't hear you, Shelley.
Did you mean who was what was the relationship between Grace and?
I can't hear you. I'm struggling.
Oh no.
Can you repeat the question, Karen? I was
I'm trying to lip read because I'm sure you've got it.
I was having a conversation with my 11-year-old.
I can't hear you either, Joe.
Oh. Can you now?
Can you hear?
I can hear you, Joe. I can hear you, Joe.
I can hear you.
Oh, it's all gone quiet, I'm afraid. Bear with us while we try and sort out what's going on.
I promise I haven't
Can you
pressed
hear
a
me,
button.
Scott? I can't hear you.
No.
Oh, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Oh no.
Does this mean then that we instantly just get all the questions right then?
So you have to write them on a piece of paper and hold them up to the screen, and then we'll write the answers back.
Maybe we should just send her a wee quick message and just say, when we answer the question, just put your thumbs up.
If they're right or wrong.
Right. I can't hear anyone. Okay. So can somebody put in the comments if you can hear Shelley and Joe or Scott?
Somebody in the chat can just tell us if you can hear everybody.
That's handy. I'll start it so I'll finish. Yes. Okay. I'm not quite sure how we'll do this if I can't hear anybody.
Is Karen hosting, or are you guys hosting?
We are hosting.
Scott and Sarah, I can't hear you either. No.
Because could Karen leave and then come back? It might just need a bit of a boot.
She's away.
I was just typing.
This will give us our brains a little time to have a wee rest.
Oh my God, it's so hard. It's so hard.
I feel so stupid. I know nothing.
I know. You feel
Sarah,
stupid.
you hadn't really been
I pride myself on this, and I'm doing rubbish. My head's full of Mum Pesson and the bubonic plague.
Well, I don't know what happened there. I'm back. I don't know what happened there. I'm using the iPad and I touched the wrong bit, but it seems some sort of problem. So, hey, we'll get with it. Sorry about all that.
We actually thought we were going to get all the questions right there, Karen, because you couldn't hear us anyway.
Yeah, we enjoyed the brain break.
You were answering what was Grace Sowerbert's relationship to the Beerleys with the accused, Shelley? What were you saying?
Well, I don't know. Was she like a niece?
She was a niece to one of them, yes, and the other.
the father was your daughter to the father's. Is that right? No.
No.
You're
It
close.
was, I
You're
think,
really close.
you're really very close.
Sister?
Nope.
No, if it's not your daughter, it might be your daughter's daughter.
So
She was a-
granddaughter.
Yeah.
Oh, she was
Well
a
done.
granddaughter because that's right. When she was away telling them, she was away with her gran to go and suck the
Yes.
baby. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
A
So
granny's
this
church, as
young
Karen
girl,
puts in her book.
yes, that's the Lancashire word for granny is granny.
Granny.
So
Please,
this
granny.
girl was manipulated into accusing not only Jane Southworth, but also her own grandmother and aunt as well.
Right.
So who was pulling her strings?
Thomas, no, what am I saying? Oh,
No.
for God's sake. I keep getting all this kind of real stand, don't I? What was his name? Begins with a name.
No. He actually has two names.
Uh-huh.
So the two
A first name
questions:
and a
what was
second
his
name.
real name and what was his alias?
This is a hard one.
But I feel as though I know it.
Not if you've read my book, Divided by Witchcraft.
I know
Very
it.
true.
And it's just trying to remember the fella's name.
Yeah, sorry for that plug in there, that shameless plug.
No, it wasn't Hopkins. Oh my goodness.
Can we have a line out of the book to trigger a memory, Karen, perhaps?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's... I'm
Let's
going to
have a
kick
look.
myself.
So, blank came to see us off yesterday. He couldn't come with us. As a seminary priest, he shouldn't even be in Lancashire.
Mm-hmm. I know.
So he was a priest.
Yeah.
Thomas?
No.
Why am I not remembering this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is so annoying.
You'll kick yourselves.
I'm going to kick myself.
Yeah.
I'm literally my hands at the ready just to give my face a wee kind of wake-up call.
Yeah. He was Father Christopher Southworth. So one of the accused was Jane Southworth, who was his widowed niece-in-law, the widow of his nephew. So what
Does
was
it count that I mouthed it? Does that count? I tried to mouth it to Shelley. Did that count?
I didn't realise. Yeah.
What reasons know my speciality, Joe?
And what was
that?
Nah. Not for me.
What was his alias? This is a bit of a tricky one. Because he wasn't allowed, it was completely against the law for him to even be in England. He'd only just come out of years of imprisonment under Queen Elizabeth, and he was in hiding. So when he was out and about, he had a different name. Do you remember what that is? I think Joe knows it.
I can't remember.
No.
Pass.
No. Master Thompson.
Oh,
I think that's where Thomas was coming from.
That's where you got Thomas from. Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Do you know what it is? I've had too much information in my little brain, and it's just and it's because there's no much space in there. It's just squashed together.
You piled so much in. I know that feeling well. Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to give this one to Scott and Sarah together.
Oh.
And there's quite a few points up for grabs. So what acts and or objects were the Pendle witches accused of using in their witchcrafts?
Teeth.
So what were they actually doing? So Scott and Sarah.
Teeth.
Something to do with teeth.
Yep.
Is it not hair as well?
They would use hair, yes.
What do you call the things? Poppet things.
Yes, they called them clay pictures, but that's what they were. They were little dolls made of clay.
Well
Sarah, you're on a roll.
I know something.
Yeah.
Any more? There's a few more. It's not just the Pendle witches, it's the Salisbury witches as well. All the different things that they were accused of doing or using.
I think anyway.
Animals.
Yeah, what were the
Animals.
animals called?
The
They're
familiars.
familiars.
Familiars, yes.
No, that's four we've got. That's four we've got.
Yep, you've got 4.
That's good so far.
Okay, shall I open it up? Or have you got any more?
I would open it up.
I open it up.
Right.
I've done
How
it,
many
but
was there, Karen?
Sorry?
How many answers are you looking for?
I've got another 5 possibles.
And sorry, Karen, can we just repeat the question? I was
Yes.
just having another discussion with
So
my 11-year-old.
What acts or objects were the Pendle witches, and that includes the Salisbury witches, accused of using in their witchcrafts? So Scott and Sarah have got clay pictures, human teeth, human hair, and familiars. But what else was being used? What else was being done?
Go ahead.
And you have actually mentioned a couple already, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. The dancing with the devil, fraternizing with the devil.
Yeah. Bit more besides as well, which I think fraternizing covers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're still not quite 8 o'clock, are we? We're still
No,
family
we're not.
show.
Still under the watershed.
Using herbs and spices. I was going to say herbs and potions.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah.
Using herbs, flower,
I thought it was too
because you
obvious.
did spend a lot of time in the forest and gathering different things. I was going to say that, but I thought that'd be too obvious.
That's what I thought as well. Oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, well,
went for the obvious one.
Yeah.
They have the potions and
What
they
else?
can
There's
use
there's
human
something
bones.
that Demdike had James get for her, and there's a few things going back to the Salisbury witches, what they were accused of doing, and which Joe has alluded to already.
Stealing stuff out of graves,
Yes.
like bones and teeth,
Yeah.
and using them to curse.
Not quite to curse. They use them for other things. What did they use them for? Can you remember? Real
to make
witchy
up
witchy
witchy
folklore
brew.
things.
To make up a witch's brew, they put them in and cook them.
Nowadays we might use Red Bull for this because it gives you something.
Oh, it helped them fly.
Yeah.
Or transport.
Yeah.
Transport, didn't it?
They'd
Oh my God.
boil the bones down, right down, to make an ointment and rub it on themselves so that they could fly.
And it also to make them look younger, didn't they?
Oh, quite possibly. They
To
might
make
well
them
have
look-
tried it. We all try
Well, I
anything,
mean, if I
don't
was
we?
steamed in Catholics, I think I would be trying that as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So what else did they do with that corpse? With that corpse of the baby? They boiled the bones, but what else did they do to it? Or with
Drank blood.
They drank blood and
Oh.
Ate something.
yeah, they roasted the flesh and ate it.
Yep.
Apparently.
Mm.
So, right, there's one more left, which Demdike had James Devis fetch for her, and he didn't, and he was in trouble with his grandmother.
It was
this thing.
It was Holy Communion. You have to bring the bread in from the church.
It was a communion wafers, absolutely.
Oh.
But apparently, I mean, that was treated as shock horror. But I was actually part of the research. I was watching Tudor Monastery Farm, the reality archaeological program. And apparently it was common practice in those times to take communion wafers and sprinkle it over the land. So it comes again, it was quite to help the crops grow and to keep the pests away. No pesticides or anything. So it depends on the perspective, doesn't it? How these things were done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Whose turn? It is Shelley's turn. So we mentioned in that section the familiars. Can you match the
Oh.
familiar with the witch? So there's 4. I'll mention the name of the familiar, and if you can give me the name of the witch who worked with that familiar. So I'll start with, I think, is the most well-known, which is Tib. Who did Tib work with?
Is there any way we can see the other familiars?
We can, okay. Who did Ball work with?
Right.
Who did Fancy work with? And who did Dandy work with?
I'm going to get this so wrong.
Throw out a guess. It's a bit of
right,
fun.
so
Throw out a guess.
I think Fancy was Chattox, right?
No.
Right, so...
Good guess, not quite.
Okay. No. So Dandy, was that Demdike?
No.
No.
Good guess.
I'm going to get this wrong. I mean,
good
100%. I'm just getting mixed up now, aren't I? So,
Yeah.
Ball, was that Chattox?
No. So we've got 4 familiars: Dandy, Ball, Tib, and Fancy.
Right.
And the
And we've
4
got
witches, which is Demdike, James Devis, Chattox, or Elizabeth Devis. So those are the options.
Right, wait a minute. Do you know what? I'm just going to hit out random stuff here, so I'm literally going to throw this out there because I'm just going to get it so mixed up. It's different reading it then try to think. So, I mean, I probably would get them right eventually, I suppose.
Yes.
So, right, so Ball is the Chattox. Ball is no James device, is it?
No.
Right, so hey, like old.
Watch Joe's mouth.
I'm trying to give you a bit of a clue.
Elizabeth B. Mulgrew. Oh no! Just somebody else take that one away from me because this is torture.
All right, I think Joe knows them all. So before Joe tells us, Scott and Sarah, any ideas?
I'll give you my clue again if you like.
Give us a clue. Do your face.
Ball. For Ball. Who was Ball working with?
Chattox.
No.
Right.
That was a great clue as well.
My mother is a witch, and thou knowest this to be true. I have seen her spirit in the form of a brown dog, in which she calls Ball.
Yeah.
Well done, Joe.
They were the words of little Janet Device when she jumped up onto a table and denounced to the courtroom that her mother was a witch.
Yes.
Squinting Lizzie, she had one eye higher than the other. That's my impression.
Well, I got it, but then I knew the answers.
If anybody's watching in the chat, I'm not on any medication, honestly.
Right, and who did Tib work with?
Chattox.
No. Oh, Joe.
Oh no, hang on. I'm thinking of Fancy was James's.
No.
So Tim must have been James's and Fancy
Can I
must
just
have
point
been.
something out? Scott and Sarah have turned their camera off. Does that mean they're researching? They've gone to do some research.
I'm going to the door for the cat.
She's come to look for her own familiar. Okay, so right. Okay, so who have we got? So we've got Ball that obviously we knew that belonged to. So Tib belonged to Old Demdike.
Yes.
Came to her in the form of a young boy,
yes,
a dog, and sometimes, it's said a variety of things, really.
Yes, yeah, and a brown and white coat, half brown, half white, and
a cloven hoof, something or other. I think I've read somewhere. Yeah, she had quite a lot going on.
Yes.
So who else have we got then?
Fancy.
It's got to have been Chattox's.
Yes.
Yes, of course, of course.
And
Now,
which
did she? It
Sorry.
said that she brought Fancy to Demdike's house. This was before Demdike knew anything about familiars. So Chattox introduced Demdike to her friend, to which was a really stunningly handsome man. He then put his advances onto old Demdike, who wasn't very old at the time. This is around when she was about 40, so it said. Demdike refused. She wasn't into any of that. No, thank you very much. I'm quite all right. He accepted that and he left. But he then returned alone without his escort Chattox, tried once again, and she succumbed to him and she found her own familiar.
Because she was skint.
Very good.
And so made a deal with the devil to sell her soul.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think she only said that after Demdike had died, didn't she?
She did,
so
yes.
Only actually dared to accuse Demdike once Demdike had died. So it's the timings is all very interesting.
They are, yeah.
Right. So that leaves the final familiar Dandy.
James.
Yes. Yes. And I think he was a black dog. And of
He
course,
was.
Alison's familiar was another black dog, but of course he was never named as she didn't make it to the naming ceremony. Right.
But he did. Yeah. It said that the dog, with Scott's question, go back to Scott's question. It said that the dog appeared once she'd met the peddler. So she'd met him along the road. Just a few pins there, anything, no, be gone with you, not a chance. She then turned her back, muttered a few words under her breath. To her account, to then a black dog appeared. What thou shalt have me do? Thou shalt have me lame him. Which she replied, lame him. It was that exact moment that John Law the peddler hit the floor. He's unable to walk, talk, move. And why is that? Because he was suffering from, and what's that disease called, Shelley? What would a stroke have been called?
Half disease.
Yeah!
Half-dead.
That was my teacher recap. That was my teacher recap to make sure that we've got this. We are not failing on this again.
Ask me again next week, Joe. You might get a different answer.
So we're nearly there. We've not got many left. You're nearly out of your misery.
It's been so long.
Right, good. I'm enjoying it.
Right, now I've lost track. Who is next? It's Joe next, isn't it? Joe. Yes. 2 books. There's got to be a question about books somewhere. 2 books were instrumental in the witchcraft trials, and I mean by that they putting the evidence together.
Okay.
Give me the titles and possibly their authors.
Demonology by King James I.
Absolutely.
And Malcolm, it's the Latin book.
Yes. Malleus Maleficarum.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yes.
And
do you know the authors' names or their profession if you don't know the names?
A priest.
Yes, there was Jakob Sprenger and Heinrich Kramer, and they
Catholic
weren't priests. They were inquisitors of the Catholic Church. Yes.
Yeah, Protestants. Protestant book and the Catholic book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for extra, and you just answered the extra points question because the demonology by James I was, and James VI, of course, was Protestant and was used by who?
As in further, or
who used it in the trials? Which magistrate?
Roger Knoll.
Yeah. And then the Malleus Maleficarum, which means hammer of the witches, as you rightly say, was Catholic, so used by
Catholics.
Father Southworth. It's just interesting. I did read through the Malleus Maleficarum. It means hammer of the witches, and it's all about spotting a witch and what to do about witches and what witches do. There are 11 chapters about what to do with women who display witchcraft, and there is 1 chapter about what to do about men. So I just put that out there. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
It's quite graphic as well, isn't it, Karen? I do believe that
It
book
is. So all the
it's very
things to
graphic.
do with the baby that we mentioned, all those really awful things, they were all straight out of the Malleus Maleficarum.
Oh my God.
Okay, Scott and Sarah, what is the name of the dungeon at Lancaster Castle? And there's two names. You've got a full name and the nickname, or the proper name and the nickname. So what was the dungeon called?
I know this. I know I was underground. But it is underground. Oh, the Devil's Devil's Tower, the Witch's Tower. Oh, is it something tower?
You
Yes,
just said
well,
it. You just said it.
You said three names. Two of them are right.
The Witch's Tower, the Witch Tower. And
What was the other name that you said?
what is it?
Devil's
Tower. The Well
Not that
Tower.
one. Not that one. The other one.
What was the other one I said? I can't remember the other one I said. I just said them.
Well, I'll give you the point anyway because it's fun. Well Tower.
Well Tower. I said that. Aye.
Yeah, I know. Right, and okay, there's another wide question here, so get as many as you can before I open it up. What were the conditions like in that dungeon?
Pitch black, pitch
Yeah.
darkness, damp,
cold.
cold, smell, stinking basically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rat infested.
Yeah,
There was just stone floors, stone walls, they were chained up.
yeah,
No beds.
No beds,
No food.
no food, no water, no contact with anybody for it could be months at a time.
No sunlight.
Cramped,
Yeah.
very cramped.
yeah.
I think that's, it was said cold, I think that's it.
Pretty much. There's one. What would they have been given to eat and drink? I'll open it up to everybody now.
Bread.
Yeah, just bread and water. That's all they would have
Aye.
had. Nothing else.
That's it.
I also alluded to this earlier. What else would have happened to them there? And you mentioned something as well, Shelley.
Abuse.
Yeah, a bit more than that. Oh, not sure what happened there.
Right, wait a minute. Joe's in to come on, so I don't know what's happening there. Right, okay.
What happened there?
She's obviously still connected to the device.
Someone's trying to say hello. Yeah, they would have been. They were allowed to torture in the castle.
Aye, the torture. Is that what you're looking for, Karen?
So as you mentioned before, the thumb screws.
Right. Aye, that's right. Sorry.
Had it at Lancaster, but they were allowed to rack them, all sorts of awful things.
Yeah.
And I think as you mentioned, they were all crowded, and they didn't see anybody outside of themselves, but they were crowded within that dungeon, so they were all packed in together. And of course, the Demdike and Chattox fighting and at each other's throats, at least to start with, I would imagine. And you can imagine what kind of abuse Alison Devis got from everybody, and James as well, because it was their testimony that got everybody else arrested and everybody else put in there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, moving on. What are the names of the judges? This is Shelley. The judges who presided over the Lancaster Assizes.
With Altham and Bannister, were they two?
Altham was one of them. James Altham was one of them. Not Bannister. Bannister's estate was actually at Altham, which is where that comes from. But there was another judge as well. Can you remember his name?
Was he? Well, it wasn't Roger Knowles, wasn't it? No, Roger Knowles, it wasn't him, because he was the one, find out, he was
No,
the
he
one.
was the magistrate.
He's the Justice of the Peace. Right, so, no, I don't know that one.
No. Anybody else know the second judge? We've got James Altham and...
Bromley.
Yes,
Bromley. That's it.
Bromley. Yeah.
I think.
Okay. And for the extra points, there's 3 up for grabs here. Who was the star witness?
Janet Device.
Times. Yeah. How old was she?
12. Put her
Yes,
14.
does not. No, 12. She was about 11, 12. Even though she's commonly given the age of 9.
That's what I was thinking.
Most of them, their ages
I
got
know.
reduced in the transcript, but yeah, she was 11 or 12, probably 12 by the trials. And can you remember the exact dates of the trials?
It was in August, was it not? Was it August?
It was August, yes.
1612. It was towards the 20s.
18th to the 20th.
Yes, well done, Joe. Wow, I didn't think anyone would get that. Brilliant.
Well, I'm just trying to
You got Google up.
give you a bit. No, definitely know that one. Definitely know that one.
Okay, right, we're almost there. That's another book question. This is for Joe. What is the full title of the book detailing the trial, and who was the author?
The author was the clerk to the clerk to the trial, so he was a clerk to the courts at the time. The book is The Wonderful Discovery of Witchcraft.
And the rest of it in
Lancashire.
In the county of Lancaster.
Yep.
I'll give you that. And what was the name of the author?
And it was, oh man, oh geez, hang on, let me just have a minute to think. Thomas Potts.
Yes, well done. Yeah, so The Wonderful Discovery of Witchcraft in the County of Lancaster. And if it wasn't for him publishing that, it would all have been lost to history.
And his biased account, but
yes, absolutely. So biased because only the magistrates were actually allowed to give evidence, so there was no defence counsel or anything. So it was very one-sided in the presentation of evidence at the court, and the court clerk himself would be very biased as well. So there's 2 questions for extra points, and once again, you've already answered one of those. Who was he? And he was the court clerk. So well done, Joe. And I've got a bit of a tricky one here. Who did he dedicate the book to, and what was the significance of that? And I know it is a tricky one, but I think it's actually quite important for the whole context.
Oh gosh, yeah. And it's on the page, the second page.
Yes, it's on the title page of the.
Yeah.
Was it dedicated to the king?
Can I go upstairs and get it?
No,
can I just nip to the loo?
It is a difficult one. I had to look it up. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
No.
Did it? Was it something to do with dedicating it to kind of all the courts for further?
No.
I'm thinking of something else.
It was to Lord Thomas Knivet and his wife, the Lady Elizabeth Knivet at Yorkshire. But what was the significance of dedicating it to Thomas Knivet in particular?
Did they support him in some way? Because he was quite young, wasn't he?
Yeah, no.
Were they involved in were they victims of witchcraft or?
No, they were actually
Parents?
No, he foiled the gunpowder plot in 1605. So it's Thomas Knivet who found Guy Fawkes.
Of course.
So back to the accusation of them planning to blow up Lancaster Castle, and the fact that he dedicated the book to Thomas Knivet really shows how much that was a motivator in the whole of the trials. Right, last question you'll be pleased to hear, and it's so we've got there's Tubin, how many people were believed to have been victims of witchcraft, and how many people lost their lives after being accused of witchcraft? So first of all, do you know how many people were believed to have been victims of witchcraft? If you go through all of them, just chuck a number out. How many people were?
Are we still talking Pendle, or are we talking the century kind of?
We're including Salisbury, but just these trials.
Okay.
Just these trials.
About 350.
No.
Just these trials.
27.
A little bit lower.
24.
20. Well done, Sarah.
Yay! Well done.
Right.
Good stuff, Sarah.
How many people lost their lives after being accused of witchcraft, and how many can you name? Who were the people who lost their lives?
Do we include the ones that's passed in prison because they weren't accused? But do we include
their
them?
lives after being accused of witchcraft?
Okay. In the Pendle and the Salisbury.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elizabeth Southerns.
Yes.
James Device.
Yes.
Alison Device.
Yes.
Anne Whittle and Anne Redfern.
Yes.
Janet Preston.
Yes.
Isabel Roby.
Yes.
Catherine Hewitt.
Yes.
Alice Nutter.
Yes.
And the Salisbury were acquitted.
Yeah. You've got 3 left.
I was going to say, I know I'm missing.
Yeah.
Alice Gray, she was acquitted.
Yeah.
Wilcox.
Yes.
John and Jane Wilcox. Go on,
Yes.
Shell.
Yeah. And one more. Who's your favourite character of the whole lot, Joe? You did a wonderful impression of earlier.
It would have been Squinting Lizzie, wouldn't it?
Lizzie, yes. Yeah, those are the 12. And I just thought it was fitting to end this roundup, this fun summary of the Pendle just by a roll call of the people who lost their lives because of these accusations, because 12 people. So, and there we have it. And well done, you guys. You did brilliantly.
That was really good, Karen.
You did brilliantly. Well done.
Hasn't anybody asked us any questions? I can't see the chat. I'm hoping
No,
so.
there hasn't been any.
No.
No questions. No questions.
What was the final score? What did we?
I'm just adding up.
I get like 2.
No,
Yeah, but they were
12. Sarah, you got 12.
Was that Sarah? Who?
I go, what?
12.
Did you 12 points? Did you answer some other thing?
Yeah. And Scott? Scott, you got 21.
Oh, get in there.
Shelley, you got 25.
25?
Joe, you got 43.
Yeah!
Well done. Well done.
I would go to bed and cry. I'm, not that I'm competitive, but if I feel quite like I've let myself down already this evening. So yeah, that's
fair, Joe. I'd have been surprised if you lost today. I mean,
Shelley, you know so much, and I think the 3 of us
great memory.
so much work, together.
Yeah, so we all have different perspectives and different bases of knowledge, don't we? So it's
Sarah's barely even been involved in the Pendle witch lies and stuff like that. But look how much information she's already observed.
Yeah.
And they were hard questions as well that she knew.
Just proud of yourself, Sarah.
Yeah.
Your taste got up the corner. You did well, Dave.
You did all right.
It's awful being put on the spot like that. And
it's really tough.
Well done.
When you're asking a question and you can waffle on a bit and talk a bit and change the subject a little bit if you're really stuck. Not that I did that ever, of course. But to be.
But how good were your questions? They were really good.
Quick fire.
Yeah, or going from kind of telling the story to then just a tiny answer.
Yes. Yeah.
Is quite hard.
Yeah, and we did cover the whole story there.
Yeah, okay, that was amazing.
I did throw the odd tricky one in there as well.
Yeah, I'm really glad I put my kids to bed early for that. I might regret that at 5 o'clock in the morning, but you know.
Yes.
No, you've all done really well, ladies and Karen. You've done extraordinary for making up the questions.
Questions
Thank
are
you.
brilliant.
Great fun.
I think we'll get you to host more lives.
Right. Okay. I'm up for that. Yes.
Good stuff.
So I think we'll,
Brilliant. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
brilliant,
everybody who
Karen.
commented and joined us, because I certainly had fun. There were a lot of giggles along the way. I
Yeah.
hope you all enjoyed it watching as well.
that's it. That's that was one of the main objectives. Just that I know Pendle is a serious subject. We're not in any way trying to make light of it. Well,
that's why I thought it was important just to have that roll call at the end. Remember, they're all real people.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So just tonight was I thought it'd make light of everything that happened, and all the other witch trials as well. Not just the Pendle ones, but it was just something different to do, and I think he's all done really well. I get 21.
I just say, it's so easy for in history for these people to be forgotten. But we've been really studying these people for all that time, and then to be then having to try and think about all these different bits of information. So you can imagine how important a job is that we're doing with the Forgotten Pendle, just highlighting all these different people, what were on, the atrocities that happened to them, and it's really good to just try and remember them, even after doing their lives. This has helped test us so that we don't forget them.
Yeah.
Well said.
You've all done amazingly well. So as you say, Shelley, Forgotten Pendle. There's a lot more to come in Pendle, plus we're away down there 9th of July with PIH hit Pendle. Karen will be with us as well.
Fingers crossed, yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Karen will be with us as well. So, we're certainly not done with Pendle.
No.
Certainly more to come, and maybe a couple of surprises. That's my mysterious face.
Definitely. Your mysterious face was much better than my squinting Lizzie face. I'll give you that. That is not going on the documentary.
That was just scary. I feel like, no, nothing. But Karen, again, many thanks. Sarah, Joe, absolutely brilliant, and thanks to everybody in chat. That's us till
Tuesday.
No, we're not. But Sunday, me and our news team members, we're doing a live investigation. We're not saying for where, so that's about 9:30 Sunday night. Then Tuesday, you've got Joe back with Ian. Karen, you're welcome to come on. As always, Wednesday we have Jennifer and Matthew doing the Warrens.
Brilliant. That'll be an interesting one. That'll be really good.
Warren.
Yeah. Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I'll be watching that.
Yeah.
Tuesday as well, before Joe's on, we are doing a joint investigation. It'll be in the afternoon, probably about 4:30 in the afternoon, with Caledonia, who we've had on a few times. We're going to try and do it live. We're off to the power station again. And we're going to try and we'll do our best to do it live. So we get that. Joe, hopefully can, Tuesday night. The Warrens on
Wednesday.
And then Thursday. Where are we going, Shelley, on Thursday?
Oh, we're going to Edinburgh. I nearly forgot that. We're away to the Vogues.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thursday morning.
Sorry, I got a wee bit excited there, didn't I?
You did just a tad.
Sorry.
Thursday morning, the team's off to the Vaults in Edinburgh for a private tour, and some filming. So we're looking forward to that. And we might do a wee team live on Thursday night just to tell people what it was like, maybe. We'll see. if we come back.
Hopefully Scott gets attacked.
There are not many contexts you can actually say that.
and we actually catch it on film.
Why would you say that? How do you even think that? I'm offended.
You can take it.
You're a big boy. You can take it.
This is my offending face.
As I. This
Oh,
is my.
no. I mean, to be fair, right, if they came and started pushing me about, I would be quite happy at that, as long as somebody was rolling with a camera.
Oh no, I'd cry. I'm a baby, I'll cry.
If they did it and there was no camera there, I would be very upset.
But you don't know it's happening. It was like the whole thing that I had in Pendle felt absolutely fine. Went upstairs in the pub that we were in, into the room, felt really sick straight away. I said to them, I don't feel very well. And then all of a sudden I was violently sick twice. Come out of the toilet and I felt stone cold. Crouched down on the floor, thinking if I'd paid to do this as well. I'd paid to do this ghost tour, so it wasn't anything that I was a Pendle virgin at the time. Crouched down because I just felt so cold, trying to contain my body temperature, and that was it. I can't remember anything else apart from standing up. And everybody in the room, way before COVID, about 4 years ago now, looking at me in absolute amazement, as if to say, "Who the hell are you?"
Oh, really?
And it was when obviously the guy that was taking it said, "I need you to come outside. How do you feel?" And I was like, "I feel fine now. I'm not cold anymore." And he said, "No, you've just been taken over."
Really?
Frightening.
Yeah,
that would freak me out.
And I've said it before. I'm quite good at accents, but Lancaster accent it's tough. And I was broad, and I was a lady that was either suffering from some kind of stomach. I'd had a baby, and hadn't recovered, and I was bedridden, and I wanted everybody out. I wanted them to leave. They know why I'm here. They don't all need to be here. I think I'd had a baby out of wedlock from the things I was saying. So yeah. But that location, hopefully, Scott, that location should be in our forgotten Pendle, shouldn't it? Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It's a secret.
Yeah. You need to see and wait. Yeah. Wait and see. All will be real. I do different faces here, but it's just no work. So I give up. I mean,
I've also been called really terrible things in there as well at that location on a Ouija board and a spirit box. It's called me a witch. It's told me to die. It's called me a lot of swear words. So yeah, I'm
doing another live with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only thing forgotten Pendle locations is going to be locations you've never seen before.
Yeah,
basically, and that's it. But I'll only be available on the YouTube channel as well. That's the other thing. So I think we'll wrap up there, ladies. Also, we'll keep this for a couple of seconds after we come off. So thanks very much for coming in, everybody. Feel free to join me.
Thank you.
And feel free to join me and our news team member about 9:30 on Sunday night, where we'll be somewhere else. And take care, enjoy your weekend, folks. And thanks for coming in. And be safe.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.